Keep up to date with the latest news and information from Propertymark.
Welcome to Propertymark, Paul. So loads to chat about this week. Firstly, the Renters' Rights Bill now becomes the Renters' Rights Act, and that didn't take very long. In fact, 379 days all up, and there's lots still to come over the coming months in terms of aspects taking effect. Next, we'll be talking about damp and mould, and we'll hear from Propertymark's own CEO, Nathan Emerson. We'll also dive into mortgage advances and look at the very latest data from the Bank of England. Plus, we also jump into the world of house prices according to Nationwide. Are things slowing down, staying steady, or forging ahead? We'll look at figures only published this morning. Let's go then.
Propertymark.
So, 9,096 hours after being introduced to the parliamentary process, the Renters' Rights Bill graduated to become the Renters' Rights Act. Not that anyone was counting, of course, apart from me, obviously. It's been a quick and intense journey from start to finish. However, where we are currently is various frameworks and guidance are still to come from UK government, detailing when aspects will take practical effect. However, now is the time when it's vital to keep fully in tune with the what, when and how the journey ahead actually rolls out. The Act is something we will keep you fully updated on as things move forward. You can, however, get details at any time from propertymark.co.uk with all the very latest information.
We are Propertymark.
So this week again saw damp and mould hit the national headlines, and it's that time of the year when people hit the thermostats up and look to conserve heat by closing windows, and in effect sealing up their properties in many cases from preventing fresh air circulation. It's of course a very important aspect to manage. However, what happens when properties are potentially substandard, when people move in and the landlord isn't responsive in turning issues around? BBC Radio 5 Live followed the story of Ella, a student up in Manchester, and how she was having trouble getting problems sorted. In fact, she'd hit a wall regarding any remedy whatsoever. Nathan Emerson, Propertymark's CEO, was invited to join in on the conversation.
I do believe that improving standards for both where landlords operate and certainly agents that carry that responsibility to try and help support tenants through that process, the better we can be prepared for that, and the more we can support people in that circumstance, the better the world will be.
As the months get colder, we're keen to hear more on this, especially as Awaabs Law came into effect across the social sector this week, with the private rented sector soon to follow.
We are Propertymark.
So each month there is a wide selection of key data sets which provides important insight into the health of the property sector, one of these being the Bank of England Money and Credit Report, which tracks the mortgage market. The greater the activity here, the more confidence tends to flow through the housing market. September saw net borrowing on mortgages by individuals rise by 1.2 billion to 5.5 billion, the highest figure since March this year, which of course could be attributed to the grand stamp duty threshold rush prior to this April's changes. Mortgage approvals for house purchases increased by nearly 1,000 to 65,900 in September. However, approvals for remortgages did decrease by 600 in the same period to 37,200. All up, it's some interesting numbers, even more so considering we're all lined up for the autumn budget on the 26th of November.
For more details, check propertymark.co.uk.
So the latest nationwide house price index was published at 7 o'clock this morning, and it showed that UK house prices edged up 0.3% month on month in October, which is slightly more laid back compared to the 0.5% in the month earlier in September. Overall, year on year, nationwide saw 2.4% growth, which considering the myriad of economic ups and downs certainly isn't bad news for those in the middle of their housing journey and whom are keeping close eye on property equity. The average UK house price now stands at £272,226. However, again, with the budget next month, we'll be keeping close track on house prices as the year heads towards a close.
Propertymark.
As always, a massive thank you for listening. Over the coming weeks, things will be evolving really quickly and we'll be keeping track on the Renters' Rights Act, also the Housing Scotland Bill which has now passed, Planning and Infrastructure Bill as it progresses, home buying and selling process consultation, and of course keeping track of proposals regarding sector-wide regulation, to name a few things. As we round off 2025, there's going to be so much happening, and there's always immense amounts of targeted and useful information available at propertymark.co.uk. Right, I'm back on the 14th of November. Have a great week and feel free to drop me a line at studio@propertymark.co.uk.